Meditation, we introduced stage 4 in the last session. Some of you have asked, should we give the meditation record? My counter question to you is, for whom, for what? So really it's meant for your own practice. We are trying to initiate you. If you feel it's really serving your purpose, then do it for your own sake, but not as a rajasic offering, where someone else sees and say, oh, good meditation, 5 marks more. No, it's for yourself. So slowly we are trying to push you into svadhyaya, for self-learning. You do all this. Okay, we are only sowing the seeds. We are pointing a direction. It's up to you. You can take a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. Okay, so we look at these topics, but fundamentally, at this stage, you get continuous attention. You overcome gross distraction. Now we'll also look at how to overcome gross dullness. So to develop continuous introspective awareness, to observe and evaluate all distractions, and in general, whenever you can't disregard a powerful distraction, finesse the situation by intentionally making it your new temporary meditation object. Keep your breath or whatever meditation you have, object you have, in the background and deal with the distraction and then let go of it. So these are, I can see that from your meditation record that some of you are already in this stage, because you're reporting things that you experienced in childhood, and some emotions just well up. You think of somebody you have not thought of for ages. All that happens in the quietness and stillness of meditation, because all that stuff which is unresolved, which is seeking resolution, rise up to the surface. So you get emotions, memories, visions, distractions, all kinds of things while you are trying to focus here. Memories and disturbing emotions from the unconscious mind can well up into consciousness, and it's a good sign. It's a very good sign, because you've left it buried and repressed for a long time. It's seeking to be addressed. So when something becomes too strong to disregard, take it as your meditation object temporarily. That's a challenge. General rule. So even if it's some past things, look at it. And don't try to understand or rationalize. You see, you have to deal with it. It's muck. You have to resolve it. How do you do it is left to you. Without getting caught up in your subjective experience, try to find a label that accurately describes the emotion. Anxiety, guilt, lust, and quality. Is it intense? Is it vague? Or is it mixed? And the general rule holds good. It'll come. It's waiting to be settled. You don't know how to fix it, but it will get resolved. Some of you have even written that it's an old relationship, and you use this opportunity on waking up to call that other person, and you speak in friendly terms. See, don't give up this body without making up for all that which needs to be made up. Let go of all ill will. In fact, your biggest enemy is ill will. Make up for it, build friendships, and move on. So if you look at the India-Australia cricketing world, I mean, that's rajas, pure rajas on the field. I don't know, I can never appreciate that kind of thing, but it's worship today, everybody. But after a game is a game, after all. You have to move on in life. I think that gesture, especially when the other party comes and says, look, and they lost, let's have a beer together or whatever. Not that beer is not the most sattvic thing you can have. But to refuse that and say we can never be friends with you again, to me is you're kind of creating problems, and you don't show the generous spirit that this country is famous for. The welcoming, harmonious. This is rajas. You're only postponing something that should be sorted out. Do you agree? That large-heartedness, that readiness to make up, that movement towards forgiveness and moving on is what we need. Don't resist, but acknowledge and allow and accept it as a hidden part of yourself. So first step is to acknowledge, let's say fear is arising, allow, I'm perfectly safe now, I can let this happen, I can allow this memory to rise up and to accept. Yes, this has happened, these feelings have a right to be here, but now that's past, I don't need to feel this way any longer. You know, the need to self-justify is pure rajas. Well, you accept it, but you say, I'm the Dehi, I'm not the Deha, I need to move on. That's largeness of spirit. Actually, what the Indian team, the Indian cabinet needs is a rishi to guide them, which in the ancient world they had. They had the rishis to tell them what's the right thing to do. That's missing. So we have a coach, and we have someone who will physio. We don't have a mentor, that's a problem. We don't have a hearto. We don't have a solo. We focus only on the physio. The physio's job is to make you fix the body so that you can bat well, bowl well. But you really don't play with the bat and the ball. You play with your entire being. And that largeness of spirit, who will guide the team? Well, the Gita can. And it's best, you know, this is won battles in Kurukshetra. What's a cricket match? Yeah, nothing. Easy to win. No matter how bizarre or unpleasant it may seem, you can be sure that something in your history caused it. So nothing happens without a reason. Every dream has a meaning. When the mind is quieted through meditation, charged emotions, thoughts and visions will well up from the unconscious into consciousness. There they become gross distractions. That's how you treat them. Let it be until it goes away, then return to the meditation object with stable attention and a calm mind. It's actually a breakthrough. This leads to purification. So if you're here, it's a wonderful stage. Let this muck come up. Let it go. Simply making them the object of your attention, acknowledging and accepting them until they fade away on their own, that's all you have to do. And then there's this purification. By simply allowing material from the unconscious to come up, by mindfully bearing witness and not reacting, you reprogram the mind more deeply than you could ever do through intellectual analysis. You can't intellectually analyze these things. Just let them go. That's a kind of tapas. The emotional purification in stage 4 can be the equivalent of years of therapy and is crucial for progressing through the 10 stages. When we can observe and accept the thoughts, emotions and images driving unconscious programming, the illuminating power of mindfulness works its magic. Deep unconscious processes are informed that the circumstances responsible for our conditioning no longer exist and that the emotional reactions produced are no longer useful. So you had some reaction at that stage of your evolution in life. You did what you did because you didn't know what is better, like you're saying you're studying for the sake of grades. Okay, but now those conditions don't exist, you've evolved. But you still react to life with the same programming. So that programming has to go, and that programming will go only if you allow this fresh insight to enter into you. We become less susceptible to destructive emotions and are better able to appreciate and cultivate more skillful qualities of the mind. The last enemy you have is when the mind is quiet, you get dull. What is subtle can become gross and you might fall off to sleep. We are not used to turning the mind inward, which is associated with going to sleep. Also, if we succeed in calming the mind, the overall energy drops. Learn to recognize progressive subtle dullness in order to overcome strong dullness and apply appropriate antidote. I gave you many antidotes. The last is to splash water on your face, but that's your brahmastra. You should be able to handle it much before. Subtle dullness eventually leads to strong dullness in the form of drowsiness. When the dullness is deep enough to the point that you're drowsy, you will have no introspective awareness to alert you to the problem. You only realize there's dullness after you find yourself nodding off, snoring or dreaming. This happens, try to wake yourself up completely. You have achieved the goal of stage 4 when progressive subtle dullness rarely arises, and when it does, is quickly noticed and corrected for. You can direct and sustain your attention at will. This is a unique and powerful ability. Yesterday I received a mail from someone who's practiced this meditation for a year, and her report is fantastic. She says, now I could never think I would do it. Now I can stay quiet for a long period of time and actually enjoy it. That comes from sheer practice, but in the difficult, it's very difficult. Let's move into every class. I'll bite 5 minutes more because I won't be able to finish otherwise. So, gunas in knowledge, action, karma. At least let's finish knowledge, Gnana, possible karma, and karta. Okay, so this is interesting. So maybe I'll just show you this slide. Some of you who've done self-awareness course know about this. The Western world, which we are trying to imitate, is waking up and realize something is wrong with this model of development. Here's a quote which came up in 1995. It's called The Paradox of Our Age. We have taller buildings but shorter tempers, wider freeways but narrower viewpoints. We spend more but we have less. We buy more but we enjoy it less. We have bigger houses and smaller families, more conveniences yet less time to enjoy them. We have more degrees but less sense, more knowledge but less judgment, more experts yet more problems, more medicine but less wellness. Yes? We have multiplied our possessions but reduced our values. We drink too much, smoke too much, spend too recklessly, laugh too little, drive too fast, get too angry quickly, stay up too late, get up too tired, watch TV, if it's not TV, something else on the digital map too much, and pray too seldom. We've learned to make a living but not a life. We've added years to life but not life to years. We've been all the way to the moon and back but have trouble crossing the street to meet the new neighbor. Why street? The corridor in your hostel. We're too busy. We've conquered outer space but not inner space. We've done larger things but not better. We've split the atom but not our prejudice. We plan more but we accomplish less. We've learned to rush, rajas, but not to wait. We have more weapons but less peace. These are the times of fast foods and slow digestion, tall men but short character, steep profits but shallow relationships, more leisure and less fun, more kinds of food but less nutrition, 2 incomes but more divorces, fancier houses but broken homes. Yes or no? This was a quote 30 years back in the West. So this model of development, which we are, which we've imported wholesale, something is wrong, right? What is wrong with this? What's wrong with this model? Wrong meaning it's not holistic, it's creating more problems than it's solving. Materialistic. Well, you heard the answers, you are studying for materialistic reasons, no? So what's wrong with materialism? Not that. Materialism has its place. Let's not ridicule it. Many people reject this and say we'll go back to the past. That's the other fundamentalist approach. How can you go back to the past? You can't go back. The child, the grown-up man cannot go back to the womb. Not possible. You won't fit in. It's not practical. And by the way, there's a reason for this unfolding. So you can't do that. Those are all stupid things to do. This is a modern world and this is becoming, we have to wake up. What is missing in this model is it assumes that outer development will give you fulfillment. No way. It has to be matched by an inner development, and that's where the Gita can help. Okay. Advances in science, this page 185, have freed us from many superstitions, but this has also sadly made us crude materialists in our worldview. We are now thus primarily concerned with the physical, material and gross outer world. We see this as reality. The inner world is thus taken to be secondary. Material scientists would even like to believe that all sensation, thoughts, desires, emotions and attitudes are only superficial appearances produced materially by the neuronal activity of the brain and in the biochemical processes of living bodies. Most scientists believe this, including IIT Madras. Many of us also believe that if only we could set things right in the external world, like having a lot of money, material comforts, pleasures and so on, then we might live happily ever after. Sadly for us, the paradox of our age reveals quite a different reality. We seem intent on continuing with this model of education even in our best institutions, missing out altogether on the importance of inner development and the value of such timeless teachings as that of the Bhagavad Gita. The challenge before India is to realize and integrate the best of these teachings which we have imbibed, although unconsciously, with our mother's milk, with the best that the world has to offer. This is the renaissance that India needs to awaken to and show to the rest of the world. So I again quote from Sri Aurobindo's Renaissance. The method of the West is to exaggerate life and to call down as much or as little as may be of the higher powers to stimulate and embellish life. But the method of India is, on the contrary, to discover the spirit within and the higher hidden intensities of the superior powers and to dominate life in one way or another so as to make it responsive to and expressive of the spirit, and in that way increase the power of life. The work of the Renaissance in India must be to make this spirit, this higher view of life, this sense of deeper potentiality once more a creative, perhaps a dominant power in the world. So it's not being a material superpower that is India's strength. India's strength is its deep understanding that everything is spirit. The Renaissance must be a spiritual Renaissance, and from that inward discovery, all good things will unfold. So we'll end with Gnana, Gunas in Gnana. What do you think is Sattvic Gnana? Just let me hear from you. What's the difference between Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic forms of Gnana? See oneness in everyone. Okay, Sattvic. What is Rajasic in your view? He's right actually. Huh? Degrees. What? BTech degree, PhD degree is getting, learning from is Rajasic. My God. Okay, so it's not good. Yes? Learning for material benefits. That, so your Jnanam is Rajasic Jnanam. See, you admitted it right in the beginning. Yes. Yeah, what's wrong with learning? Yeah, I think I wouldn't be teaching mechanics if I didn't believe it's worth learning. So I think that's a wrong approach to ridicule or to bring down scientific learning. By the way, science has nothing to do with Rajogunam. Scientists can be Rajasic, Sattvic, Tamasic, and learning can be that. But the learning, knowledge by itself is pure. It's taintless. So you get your fundas straight correctly. What is Tamasic learning? Knowledge. Counterfeiting of notes. Knowledge of counterfeiting of notes is, so he's saying knowledge put to ill use. Okay, let's see.
सर्वभूतेषु येनैकं भावमव्ययमीक्षते अविभक्तं विभक्तेषु तज्ज्ञानं विद्धि सात्विकम्.
Know that knowledge to be sattvic. Tat jnanam viddhi sattvikam, which sees unity in apparent diversity. Ikshate sarva bhuteshu yena ekam, one imperishable being in all becomings. Bhavam avyayam, one indivisible whole in multiple divisions. Avibhaktam vibhakteshu. So you will find that even in Bloom's taxonomy, if you studied the Western understanding of different levels of learning, analysis is high up there. From information you can learn to develop analytical skills. But higher than analysis is synthesis, when you can put together everything. Today many of us are PhD students, we believe in super specialization. In super specialization, you go deep into a narrow domain, and that too it's not first hand knowledge, it's second hand, third hand, fourth hand, whatever. So as delta x tends to 0, that's your domain. You go. So what do you end up discovering? You end up knowing everything about nothing. You understand? You tend to lose perspective. You tend to see the connection of the whole. If you look at the Gyanis, look at even Western world, Socrates, he had a big perspective. Aristotle, they knew broadly everything, and then they could go deep into whatever area they want. We've kind of lost that big picture. And there are, so we've even divided ourselves badly. We've super specialized, I'm just joking, but a doctor who's gone deep into one area of specialization, somebody falls sick and then he doesn't know how to treat. The neighbor comes and says what to do. He says, look, I'm a brain specialist, or I specialize in the left nostril. Sorry, this is outside. That's how we become super specialized. We miss the big picture. Whereas the good old doctor would just feel your pulse and then say, okay, nothing to worry, go to sleep, everything will be okay in the morning. That's knowledge. You understand? Similarly, we've divided ourselves into science and humanities. Humanities, scientists think kind of, come on, it's beautiful. So we've subdivided and super specialized. It's not that we know our specialization very well. It's all second-hand knowledge. We don't have a direct knowledge of what we are learning. We've not enjoyed it, and as you rightly confessed, we've learnt it because we wanted the grade, and we wanted the grade because we thought it will give us a degree. But then you miss the big picture. Why do you want the grade? You didn't look at philosophy. I was in IIT Kharagpur yesterday, and I asked a lot of general questions. They said this Viva's. We've never had a Viva like that, but in one of the faculty said, sir, some of your questions are very philosophical. I said, but the degree is also that, no? His PhD is meant to be a degree of philosophy. So philosophy doesn't, it's actually synthesizing everything, so you should know. In fact, the thesis was on sustainability. I asked a simple question. What's the one quality that you need in the world to have sustainability? So he gave the bookish answers. I said, no, really? I said, I think it's love. Then he said, yes, that's true. But love is not in the syllabus. It's not in the curriculum. You can't write a PhD on that, you understand? But that's what you need to have this seeing oneness in everything. And we don't do that. Let's say you look at the night sky, you see the great bear, the Saptarshi. You see it for convenience, but you should know it's part of the night sky, and they are all connected, and someone imagined that there's a great bear there or whatever, and that if you join the first two stars and you'll hit the north. But you can't separate it out from the rest of the sky, and we've done that. We've separated ourselves from the rest of the world, not seeing the one Dehi in all the Dehas. That's highest knowledge. Really, this is a beautiful verse with a lot of depth. Let's look at the next one.
पृथक्त्वेन तु यज्ञानं नाना भावान् पृथग् विधान् वेत्ति सर्वेषु भूतेषु तज्ज्ञानं विद्धि राजसम्.
Know that knowledge to be rajasic. Tat jnanam viddhi rajasam, which sees all things as being divided. Prithaktvena tu yat jnanam, as multiple entities of different kinds. Nana bhavan prithak vidhan, believing that all beings are separate. Classic. Veti sarveshu bhuteshu. So we keep dissecting everything, and that's even how we learn biology. You have to separate out a beautiful flower, the petal, the sepal, and then tear it up and treat it as an inanimate object. Even frogs you cut up, whereas the olden way was direct knowledge. I'm getting signals to stop the tea, maybe getting cold. But that's not the right thing. One more verse and it'll be over.
Yattu kritsnavade kasmin कार्ये सक्तमहैतुकम् अतत्त्वार्थवदल्पं च तत्तामसमुदाहृतम्.
Tamasic knowledge. Know that knowledge to be tamasic, tat tamasam udahritam, which clings rigidly to one plan of action, yat tu ekasmin karye saktam, as if all in all not caring for the real purpose, kritsna with ahaitukam, narrow-minded, not seeing the whole truth. Atattva artha vat alpamcha. So any with knowledge which is narrow-minded and refuses to look at the big picture, the opposite of sattvic jnana is tamasic jnana. We'll stop with this.